Welcome to the messy middle of entrepreneurship, unfiltered and unapologetic. Uncensored Entrepreneurs, hosted by Stark Cod, Robert Wall, and Tina Torres-Wilson, brings you real stories from the trenches of building a business. Those late nights, hard lessons, big wins, and everything in between. This is where the truth about entrepreneurship lives. No fluff, no filters, just raw, honest conversations with founders who have lived it. So, if you're over the highlight reel and you're ready for the real deal, hit play. Some people rebuild after life knocks them down. Laurie Kennedy produces a whole new life and helps others do the same. Laurie's a motivational speaker, mentor, and the voice behind Produce Your Dream Life. She's been through real-life plot twists that would stop most people in their tracks. But instead of settling for survival, she chose clarity, purpose, and growth. Today, she helps people reconnect to their power, reclaim their stories, and move forward no matter what they've been through. If you're in a season of transition, uncertainty, or reinvention, this one's for you. Laurie, welcome to Uncensored Entrepreneurs.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited that you're here. Okay, so Laurie and I know each other because she's one of my clients and she has become one of my really good friends as well. And she has a huge event next week. But before we get into that, before we promote that, Laurie, I want you to tell everybody how amazing you are, because I already know how amazing you are. But tell everybody who you are, a little bit about what you do, and what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. Well, for most people that know me, they know that I've been a caregiver for 26 years. In that 26 years, I have helped care for over 107 children and adults with varying disabilities. I am also an executive producer from a Broadway show, and I have been in and out of the makeup and skincare business for well over 10 years. And I really help women feel confident whether they wear makeup or not. And then I also most recently have co-founded a community of over 203 women. It's called the 1%. And we work together with women to create a space where they are valued for who they are and feel confident just being who they are. And we just encourage them to be just 1% better every day.
Oh, I love that. 1% every day. You've lived through your personal reset, right? Just like we had in your intro. What was your turning point that made you stop just surviving and starting to actually rebuild your life?
So my biggest reset point, of course, we all have quite a few points in our lives that really define who we are. But my biggest one was about 7 years ago. Little short story, December 11th of 2018. I was heading from Colorado back to Wisconsin. I was living in Wisconsin at the time. And my dad drove me to the airport, normal day, said hi, bye, as per our usual. The next day, my dad took a turn for the worse with his cancer. He had cancer for 6 years. But within 24 hours, my dad was just a shell of the man who he was. He wasn't able to eat. He wasn't able to sit up. He couldn't talk. And I told my mom to take him to the hospital right away. I got on the next flight to Colorado. And that really was a pivotal moment in my life because it really altered my next 13 days of my life. I ended up being my dad's hospice care worker. December 31st, my dad passed away. And it was a moment in my life where I didn't know if I could be a caregiver anymore. I didn't know if I had it in me. And it's really all that I knew. And I always have just said, I'm just a caregiver. I'm just a caregiver. And I never really gave myself the credit that I deserved for doing what I do. It takes a lot of work to be a caregiver. And I use the word caregiver very loosely. Caregiver can be your traditional, what we think of as a caregiver, someone who cares for other people. It can be a mom. You can be a nurse. You can be a caregiver in many facets. You can be a caregiver for your elderly parent who isn't even living with you. You might be responsible for somebody. So I use caregiver very loosely, but I didn't know if I could take on that role anymore. And through a lot of loss through the next 18 months after that, it was between a loss of marriage, the loss of my dad, the loss of my independence. It felt like because I ended up moving back in with my mom through divorce, things like that. I just didn't know who I was anymore. And it wasn't until 2023 and in the makeup and skincare company that I am in, one of the top leaders that was in the group that we were with, she was speaking at a conference in Las Vegas. And I didn't know anybody else there. I didn't even really know her, but I was like, you know what? This might be an opportunity for me to meet her outside of the company that I was with. And I looked at my schedule. I had the weekend off. So I decided to go, which was a huge leap of faith for me because one, I don't travel very well alone. I can solo Disney all day long, but when it goes to networking, I didn't know what I was doing. Let's just be very clear. I didn't know what to do, but I decided to go anyway because the voice inside of me, that little nudge in my being that said go was so loud. I ended up going, and it ended up being the most pivotal moment in my life where I really walked away. It wasn't about makeup anymore. It was about me finding myself and figuring out that I wasn't just a caregiver. I was more than just a caregiver, and I could be a caregiver while still not being completely burnt out. And so I am at a point in my life where I am still a caregiver. I still work a lot of hours as a caregiver for these adults that I care for with disabilities. But I now mentor and coach women on how to work through that burnout, through that stage in their life where they just feel like they just don't have it anymore. So that is where I'm at. It took one yes in my life to really just know that I was still on the right path and I was still doing God's work.
And that one yes got you in front of a lot of people because you ended up meeting somebody who introduced you to somebody who introduced you to me, who introduced you to somebody else. And it just trickled down.
One yes. And like I said, I wasn't even sure. I just decided to go to meet this one person who that weekend at that conference that I went to, I ended up meeting my mentor and I ended up meeting several other women who are in my life to this day. I co-founded the 1% with a girl that I met from that conference, from a woman, I should say. She's not a girl. It opened so many doors just to say yes one time. It taught me to pour into myself. I was giving from an empty cup. I had nothing left. My cup wasn't even damp anymore. It was dry. And so it really taught me how to really pour back into myself so that I could serve other people and keep going.
Love that, Lori. So, what advice do you have for someone who's stuck in what they've been doing or their old life and they know they want to make a shift or have a shift, but they're just scared and stuck? What advice do you have for them? And I feel like so many of our audience is either going through something like the loss of a loved one, like you said, divorce, empty nesters.
Huge transitions. I tell everyone this. I have a program, it's called 5 for You. And my biggest advice to everyone is you have to take at least 5 minutes a day for yourself. And that could be, I get up at 5:30 every morning so that I don't have to hear anybody else breathe around me. I need at least a little bit of time. I can do anything during that time. If I'm working, I will go downstairs. I'll get breakfast ready, meds ready, things like that, but nobody else is bothering me. And then I usually sit and have a cup of tea. It's 5 minutes of me time where I can sit, I can listen to myself. And during that 5 minutes, I journal. I talk about what I'm grateful for. And then I write down things that I need to do for the day. I'm a huge advocate for people writing stuff down. Don't type it out, write it out. I say that all the time. Get a journal, take your pencil, take your pen, your colored pens. I have markers everywhere. Because if you write it down, there is studies that show writing something from your head onto a piece of paper and not typing it out helps you retain that. And I'm talking about affirmations. I'm talking about your grocery list. I'm talking about what your kid needs for school. Whatever it is that you need, write it down.
Then our aging parents are getting sick now. And I feel like it's called, isn't it a sandwich? The sandwich generation?
I would say that, but I'm going to tell you, I'm getting ready to do a whole series on parenting your parent. When I lost my dad, I made my dad a promise with his final breath. He passed away in the comfort of his own home. but I watched him take his last breath. And in that last breath, I told him that I promised I would take care of my mom. I didn't realize the promise that I made to him and what that would require and what I didn't know. And so parenting your parent is a whole nother ball game because they're independent.
I feel like they're worse than your own children.
That's why I'm saying they're independent. My mom, she's almost 71. And I'm like, Mom, you do not need to be getting up and cleaning gutters anymore. Parenting your parent is a whole nother ball game.
I love that, Laura. I think there's a lot of value in that. By the way, just so that you know, as I'm sitting here, I had to actually turn off my mic for a minute. I was gathering my own self. A lot of what you said in the very beginning really stuck with me. I lost my father a couple of years ago. He also told me to take care of my mother. And then now my mother is going through cancer treatment. So I just really related with that feeling. And as everyone knows that listens to the show, I take care of her a great deal. It's a lot of work. And so when you do sign up for something like that, you don't realize what it'll entail. But because of love and everything that we put forth, we're willing to step up. I do think it's something that people need to talk about a lot more and how to actually handle those things. Because like you said, my mom is the same way. She's so independent. She's going through cancer treatment. She had surgery the other day and she's sitting there telling me about how she needs to go clean the pool. And I'm like, you don't need to be cleaning the pool. What are you talking about?
The last thing you need to do is clean the pool.
Trying to get up and go and do it. I can do it. I can do it. Mom, you're going to fall in.
Exactly.
Quick little snippet about that. So we just found out that my mom has stage 3 kidney disease. And so now we're like doing this huge life shift on how we can figure that out. And then the other day she was supposed to have hip surgery and they found an arrhythmia in her heart. And I'm just like, don't you think that maybe it's time to slow down? She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, you're stressing me out. I'm going to lose my hair.
I love their energy, though. My mother-in-law's in the hospital today, and I'm like, okay, someone's going to pick you up soon. But the thing is, she was supposed to be resting, and she called me the other day, and she's like, Star, I'm going to come by. I'm going to pick you up. Can we go over here? Can we go there? And I'm like, I'm supposed to be working. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'll take the day off. Let's go. And then I felt so guilty. I mean, you have to love them. There's so much energy and so exciting. But yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. If we want to call it the sandwich generation, where we still have kids that we're taking care of, but we've got these parents now, I really feel like we are struggling with how do we raise this generation with all of these new technology? What is required now to raise a child? And then also turning around and trying to care for someone who is supposed to be independent, but you're like, you should not be doing that. And I realize there are very capable, I'm going to use this word and please don't hate me, elderly people out there. My mom's elderly, but she's still very capable. And I feel like we're stuck in this weird transition of age gap. I actually found this book in my room the other day, and it's called Hard is Not the Same Thing as Bad. I don't know where this book came from, and I swear it was a sign from my dad. Yesterday was my dad's birthday, and I was laying in bed last night, and I saw this in my room, the perspective shift that could completely change the way you mother. And I'm struggling as a step parent right now. So I was like, it's a sign. But on page number 10 in this book is the quote, and it's 2 Timothy 4:7. I'm sorry, I'm not here to impose my beliefs on you, but it says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. And that was the quote that we had engraved on my dad's box. And that was a sign that he was sitting with me last night in bed while I'm eating his birthday cake. And I'm like, okay, I can read this sign. So I really am huge on, we just got to keep going. There's little things that are speaking to you. You have to listen to the nudges and you have to be open for the listen.
So true. By the way, happy belated birthday to your father. My daughter's birthday was yesterday as well. So
Good day.
yeah, it is a good day.
Goosebumps and all the things. And I cried and I was happy. It was happy grief. And so I did a little thing yesterday about what happy grief is.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so Laurie, why do you believe that clarity and resilience are skills we can actually practice and grow today with?
Because you need it for every day. So when it comes to clarity, I'll just use my example. I was out there floundering. I was putting on a happy face. I was smiling. I was doing all the things, but I felt so lost. I didn't know if I wanted to be a caregiver anymore. Over almost 2 decades of being a caregiver, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I was good at. Like I said, I'm just a caregiver. It's what I'm good at. I didn't know anything else I could do. I didn't go to school for anything special. I didn't feel like I had any special qualifications. So I just felt so lost. I felt like I was just going through the motions of life, pretending I was happy. And I can't say I was miserable. I still had my friends, I still had my family, but I just felt lost. And having clarity on who you are, what you want, and where you're going, if you know who you are, you can have boundaries that you can put in place that will allow you to move through life. So even if you only know who you are and you can hold firm to that, you're doing better than half the population. If you want to know what you want, you know what? You're doing way better than I'd say 90% of the population. A lot of people, and I still am to the point where I'm like, I think I'm going to try that. I don't know if this is what I want, but I'm still going to try that. I feel like that's normal for us, especially in this age that we are, because we are in a huge transition phase, midlife crisis time, if you will. Parenting parents, our kids are getting ready to age out around that age. What are we going to do next? Do we stay in the career that we've been miserable in, but is paying our wages, or do we make a shift? So figuring out what you want and then where you're going, that clarity in itself will get you through anything. So clarity as a whole is huge. And that can be personal life, work life, in relationships, whether they're intimate or friendship or work, whatever. And if you're not sure how to get clear, my first thing would be is start journaling. Don't make it pretty. It's for you.
The study that's been going out these last few years that talks a great deal about just brain dumping, like what you're talking about, right? First thing you do in the morning is spending that time throwing it all on paper. And sometimes it can be very structured, like you said, your to-do list, this and this, things that you want done. But also, as you already mentioned, it can be just anything. It can be like, yesterday I was having a bad day and blah, blah, blah. Just get it out there. And it's amazing. They say that doing that, even for 15 minutes, creates clarity for 8 hours. So that's pretty profound when you think about that.
So I tell everyone this when I'm mentoring them. You have a 100% success rate of getting through your hard times. You have made it through all of the hard times up to this very second. And that is because you got back up again and again and again. And it doesn't matter how far you fall as long as you get back up. You have to get back up. The world needs you to get back up. It's not just for you. It's for the people who depend on you, whether that be your kids or your friends or your family. And I realize that that might sound a little bit weird because we need to live our lives for us and be happy with us. But there are a lot of people that need us in their lives. Your stories and your resilience will help somebody. And it's only fair that you show up in this world again and again and again. And it doesn't have to be pretty. It doesn't have to be perfect. But as long as you keep showing up.
I hope you're enjoying this conversation. I want to take a quick moment to share something that comes up a lot with my clients. Selling doesn't have to feel heavy or exhausting. I work with course creators and coaches who are tired of launching all the time and not seeing consistent results. Inside Pink Door Marketing Agency, I help them build evergreen systems that work in the background and bring in the right people with ease. If you're ready to sell in a way that feels aligned, visit pinkdoormarketingagency.com. Now let's get back to the show.
So true. We're born with these gifts, right? We all have these gifts, and some of them we realize right away or we recognize. Others, there's something that we learn later on in life. You talked a great deal about caring, and sometimes those gifts can seem singular, meaning that you were caring for a person or a group of people. But I see with the work that you're already doing, that has transferred on to all the other things that you continue to do. the 1%, the community, the groups of women entrepreneurs that you're inspiring and helping to gain footing again in life. And so I love seeing that transformation. When you do these type of things, other than maybe some of your earlier experiences, can you share a story with us, maybe a transformational story of a client or someone that you've actually helped recently and what that looked?
So I'll change names. So Sarah is a cousin of one of my really good friends. And I've known Sarah for years. And she was in a pretty bad relationship and she didn't trust herself anymore. She's like, why would I trust myself after this relationship? But she also didn't know how to move on. But she felt like she was making a mistake because even though she was being emotionally and verbally abused, she wasn't actually physically abused. But when you leave an emotionally or a mentally abusive relationship, sometimes that sticks with you longer than a physical abuse. And she really was struggling to actually just start showing up again for herself, for her family in life. And I'm going to use her words. She was very broken. She felt like she just couldn't keep going. And after we got over some milestones of the relationship of her moving out, court dates, it was a pretty bad breakup. After we got through those things, she started journaling, which was big, but she was introduced to the community and the community really just gave her so much support, just showing up for her. These women don't even really know her. We're just part of a virtual community, but it's amazing how much strangers will show up for you more than even the people that you necessarily have, your mom, your sister, your brother, your family, your immediately close friends. Sometimes they are not the people that will get you through your hardest times. So once she got over those humps and a lot of talking, it was checking in and making sure that she had accountability for herself too. So we would set goals and it was making sure that she was reaching those goals. And they were little, you guys. I'm not talking huge, like go out and change jobs. I'm talking, you know what? We showered 3 times a week. You know what? We put our shoes away after we came home. Little, 1% better every day. Those things really help to shape her to find herself again. And she is traveling now. She's back at work full time. She has completely shifted her perspective on her relationship. And I'm so proud of her because that does take time. It's hard to forgive someone that has mentally and emotionally abused you. It's hard to forgive them so that you can move on. And when I say that that's probably the thing I'm most proud of for her, because now she can take whatever lessons she had from that relationship and carry those on is huge.
That is so huge because you and I are friends as well as clients, but it was a huge hurt for me to get over that same thing. And some of my friends weren't even there for me. It was more of the strangers that were there. I kind of go back to where you were talking about you being a producer in a Broadway show. Tell us a little bit about that and tell us a little bit about the event that you have coming up in a couple of weeks here in Atlanta.
Sure. The opportunity, and I know I say this nonchalant, but the opportunity fell in my lap. And I was in an executive mastermind with my mentor, and she was producing a one night only Broadway show in New York City. And the mastermind participants, me being one of them, we all decided to collaborate and become one entity of her, one of the executive producers of her Broadway show. And so that was last December. I want to say it was December 3rd or 4th of last year. And since then, there have been talks and it's in the work to become a streaming special like on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime. So it's been a journey, but that has led me here to my upcoming event this weekend, which 8 of the producers from the Broadway show are collaborating on a conference this weekend. It's called Produce Your Dream Life. And we really touch on all the facets of your life: finances, goal setting, burnout, being like your creative self. Like, how do you become creative when you feel like you're just starting to run down? So we really are excited for everyone. And our mentor, who is Lisa Nichols, is actually keynoting the conference. So that is amazing. And we are excited. I'm excited because I get to see a collaboration of community as well. We started out as individuals. We went to the Broadway show. We collaborated, and this has been a year in the making, collaborated to create this event and with you in mind, with the person that is sitting in that seat, to feed into them and to pour into them things that they may know, but they need to hear again, things they may not know. We have a clarity coach. We have a goal setting coach. I'll be there. I am a caregiver advocate and resilience architect. We have business strategists. We have creative coaches. So we have people who are really make a huge impact in their fields to be there so that everyone can get something that they need. Maybe not everyone's struggling from burnout. Maybe everyone's like, I'm resilient, I'm good, I got this. But they don't know how to be clear on what they're going. We got someone for you. Maybe someone's like, I make decent money, but I do not know where my money is going. We got a financial educator coming, and she is good. She's real good. We really have honed in on what it is that we need at this stage in our lives. Like we all said, we're kind of in this sandwich and going through big transitions. And this is aimed for those people. How do we get clear on that transition?
A lot of people don't know that they're in that burnout space until you start going, are you constantly exhausted? Do you have to push yourself to do that? And you're like,
Or how about even further, like you're sick and in bed, right? Because we've all reached that stage where we just reach our limit.
I talk about that. So the speech that I will be giving, it talks about my burnout. It talks about being beyond tired. It's not tired anymore. That's burnout. And it's important to recognize that. I always say this first step is awareness. That's because it's true.
So, Laurie, this sounds like a very incredible event. Are tickets available? Can people still attend?
So right now, tickets are still available. And we do have a limited number of tickets just because of the venue, but the tickets are still available. And right now, our general admission tickets are buy one, get one 50% off. So you can come, bring a friend, bring your sister, bring whoever you feel like they're just in that rut and they just need a sign. This is your sign. My life changed at a conference very, very similar to this. My whole trajectory of my life has shifted because of a conference like this. We do have some VIP tickets left. VIP tickets, you'll get lunch and you also get to meet Lisa Nichols, get pictures, things like that as well. And you can get those at produceyourdreamlife.com. And we also have some vendor spots available and potentially even some sponsorship spots available as well still.
I love it. Yeah, I'm not too far from you.
The event is in Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, it's in Morrow, but it's 15 minutes from the Atlanta airport. You guys, I'm just saying, if you're a cheap flyer like myself, I got my ticket from Denver to Atlanta for $16.
Well, for me, it's a 2.5 hour drive, so not too far away.
and you can see your co-host.
She's down there too, isn't she?
Miss Tina will be there. I'm excited.
I owe her at least 2 birthday lunches. The years fly by. I was just going to say, aside from journaling, are there any other tools, rituals, or practices that you personally do to stay focused or that you could also recommend for the people watching this episode?
Anytime anyone asks, I say the same 3 things. The first one is journal. That's time for yourself. It gets things from your mind onto paper. It doesn't have to be pretty. I journal in the morning and then I journal at night. My night journaling helps me sleep at night. I put down things I need to try to remember to do tomorrow. And it helps me from waking up at 3 a.m. going, oh crap, and then not being able to fall back asleep. I actually keep a journal beside my bed and a notepad because if I get up in the middle of the night to go pee, because we all know how that works too, I end up waking up. I would love to sleep through the night. I always keep a pen and a paper beside my bed because I need to write it down. Because if I say, oh, I need to remember this, oh, I need to remember this, I'll end up staying up. And I'm sorry, 3 a.m. is too early to get up. 5:30 is early enough. So write stuff down. If you've struggled, if you're happy about something, if you're sad about something, if you're pissed off that you had a flat tire today, if you're excited because your sister took half of the giveaway clothes out of your closet, finally, whatever it is, the little things really do make a difference. Be happy with the little things because those little things are what get us through our days. The next thing is find your community. And sometimes I feel like this is even bigger than journaling. You find your community. You have to find like-minded people. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're probably sitting on Facebook. And I say that with a love-hate relationship for social media, but there is a mass amount of people going through the same thing as you. Start in a group that you love. I'm in Jeep enthusiast group. I just got back from Ireland. I'm in Ireland groups. I'm in our small community groups. Find groups, find things that you're interested in. If you're interested in sewing, if you're interested in quilting, if you're interested in cooking, I'm in a high altitude baking group. Anything, because it's amazing how much you connect with people in those spaces. And the final thing is to have to talk to people. Once you find your community, you have to then be active in those communities. Say hi, show up, because not only are you showing up for yourself, you're showing up for them. Because you may have gone through something that you're like, I am way past that, but they're in their struggle. And you might be going through something that they're like, oh, I got you. You have to show up. And sometimes showing up is just saying hi. Sometimes showing up is just being like, I'm having a rough day. Let them come to you. You'd be surprised how much people will pour into you who don't actually know you.
It's so important to share your story. I mean, I tell that and you know that, but I tell that to all of my clients to share your story. Your story is not small. Your story is there to share with other people. And you're being selfish if you do not share your story because you're going to be able to help somebody else.
We're going through it. It's a roller coaster. My grief with my dad. I can tell my story, but the other day when I was talking about it, I started to cry. And I'm like, well, today must be one of those days that my ball hits the grief button. And that's okay because that means you're human. So it's okay to go through the motions and it's okay to be burnt out. I still work through burnout and I talk about burnout on a regular basis. I talk about being resilient and there's days that I'm like, I do not know if I can keep doing this. And I'm praying that something gives. It's a roller coaster, but having tools in your tool belt will help you every single time to get back up.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laurie, for sharing that. So how can our audience connect with you, Laurie? I know you have a website. Do you have any social media handles you'd like to share?
Yep. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm under The Real Laurie Kennedy everywhere. So my website is thereallauriekennedy.com. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm just being real. Sometimes Facebook and Instagram is plenty. And my name is spelled Laurie, but I'm pretty active on Facebook. I love connecting with people on social media. So my DMs are always open as well to talk and to give advice. I do mentor, I do coach, and I am in the makeup and skincare business as well. So I have coached and mentored in that area as well. I love when women can show up confidently, and makeup for me does that. And I want people to understand that you can still be confident without it. But if you want to wear it, let's do it. So I love girly things.
We agree.
Robert loves girly things too, right?
Of course I do.
He has a daughter. Of course he does.
And I'm a girl dad. So yeah, absolutely.
My fiance has an 11-year-old. Like I said, I'm struggling a little bit with the stepmom thing, but we're getting there. But I showed him a video yesterday of this little girl and she was putting all these rhinestone stickers on him. And I was like, you are so happy you're not a girl dad. He's like, I prayed so hard I was having a boy. I'm so grateful. I was like, you would die.
I was going to say on more than one occasion, I'm in corporate meetings with glitter on my face that I find. And I'm like, this is my daughter's. It's not some little side job that I have on the weekends. But yeah, you just have to embrace it. And I love that. And so best wishes, by the way, for your event this weekend. And that's Produce Your Dream Life, correct?
ProduceYourDreamLife.com. Yep.
November 7th and 8th.
Like I said, tickets are still available and we still have a hotel block open, I believe, until the 31st. So tomorrow. If you get this out by tomorrow, we still have a hotel block open for that.
Excellent. Laurie, thank you so much for coming on our show and sharing your wisdom, your story. And it sounds like you're building an amazing community. If somebody's out there and they're listening to this and they're going, where do I start? What a perfect place for them just to reach out, connect with you. And that could be a good place just for someone to start their new life again.
It doesn't have to be big, you guys. And I say that coming from the depths of my soul. 1% does not need to be huge. Your 1% could be you ate breakfast. It's do something for you today. 5 minutes for you.
Well, thank you, Laurie, so much. And go to produceyourdreamlife.com, grab your tickets today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to the Uncensored Entrepreneurs. If you're getting value from the show, take a minute to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you tune in. It helps more bold entrepreneurs find us. Until next time, keep showing up, uncensored and unapologetic. And we'll catch you on the next episode.